Good morning. Welcome to the Kehillat Shari Torah 613 Mitzvot review for Monday, June 21st. We discussed at the end of yesterday how the Jewish king, has an obligation to write a Sefer Torah for himself. Well, that would leave him with two Sifrei Torah because positive mitzvah number 18 in Maimonides' counting, reckoning of all the Taryag mitzvahs, is to acquire a scroll of the law. This mitzvah teaches us that we are commanded that every man among us is to have a Sefer Torah, a scroll of the Torah written for himself. You can write it. If you know how to write it, you can acquire if you know how to acquire it. Now, it's an interesting conversation as to why we say a man and not women, because this doesn't seem necessarily to be a time-bound mitzvah. So we have to look in the Perek Gimel of Menachos and also the beginning of Bab Basra, and we will come across it in Shabbat, Tractate Shabbos. We are learning with our Monday afternoon group, so I suppose we'll come across that. Now, if you're interested in a mitzvah which every one of us can fulfill, men, women, and children, Birkat Hamazon is positive mitzvah number 19 in the Rambam's listing. Grace after meals. By this mitzvah, we are commanded to bless God after every meal, as we have a verse in the Torah. Chapter 8 of Deuteronomy, verse 10, V'achalta v'savata uverachta. You have eaten, you're satisfied, satiated, and you should bless God, your God. Tosefta says that there's the saying of grace after a meal, reciting grace after meals, Birkat Hamazon, is a precept laid by the Torah, which we learn from this verse. And you can learn it in Brachot, and indeed we did, when we learned Tractate Brachas. As an interesting footnote, fun fact about this mitzvah, this is the only benediction, the only bracha. Okay, the only bracha incumbent on all of us. Of course, the Birkat Kohanim, the obligation for Kohanim to bless the people, is also laid down explicitly by the Torah. But for the one that applies to all of us, this is the only one that the Torah gives us a mitzvah. All other brachas, by and large, are of rabbinic origin. Some say that the bracha over studying Torah is also midorais, is also a Torah principle, but the overwhelming majority would say that this is Birkat Hamazon, grace after meals, is a Torah commandment. So what do you say about grace before meals? What do you say about Hamotzi Lechem in Haaretz, or about Kiddush, which is actually a separate thing, but the Borei Pri Hagafen in Kiddush that you say before the meal starts? So those brachot are of rabbinic origin. The rabbis, our sages of blessed memory, said that if you have to thank God after you tuck into your meal, how much more so should you say a few words of appreciation and thanksgiving before you start? Seems to make sense. So that's where those come from. Okay, we'll leave that here for today. We'll continue with building the sanctuary, building the Mishkan tomorrow, Emir Hashem. So please join us then.